me take you somewhere, and there's something new. Why English is spoken so good, it's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue. This is a world where English language is taught, the official language that everyone needs to learn. Set it right pronunciation and use the right intonation. So express yourself. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Okay, wake up to the world with vision. They say nation get perished without the vision. In Diction Avenue, we got a mission, vision to build tomorrow's future. Speak with good English is our culture. We got qualified teachers, good facilities to build confidence in our students. Don't be told, come witness it, treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is spoken so good, it's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
Good evening and welcome to yet another edition of Diction Avenue. And this is the program, if this is the first time you're just watching this show, this is the program where you learn how to speak right and sound right. My name is Abigail Anaba and I'm your host on the show for today. What we do every week on Diction Avenue is help you improve your speaking, your grammar, and your presentation skills. And today we're going to do something that will add to that. Should I say happy resumption? A lot of young ones have resumed school this Monday. I know that for parents, that means that you're preparing to pay school fees for the term. And then for the children, it's another time to look at your goals. And so today, we are going to be looking at some back to school reminders. And when we're talking about back to school reminders, we're giving reminders to teachers and to students. We're saying, what are those things that you need to keep in mind as school resumes, vis-a-vis speaking right? And so we're going to discuss that today. As usual, we are going to start off with our question of the day. Question for the day is going to be a very interesting one, and I'm sure that a lot of us will be able to provide good, correct answers to the questions. Of course, later on in the program, we'll be reading stories that teach. And today we'll be taking a lesson that I am sure you need in your life, because I need it in my life too. We all do need lessons in our lives, especially as we start off a new year. And also on the show today, we'll be taking Ask Anything English. And we have a question which came in from one of our viewers, and we'll be providing an answer to that question. But we're going to start off now by looking at our question of the day. And what's our question of the day? The acronym SMART or SMART is an A, abbreviation, B, mnemonic, C, word. What do you think? Is it an abbreviation? Is it a mnemonic? Or is it a word? Well, here's a chance to send a correct answer to that question, and the number that you are to text, not to call, but to text, is 0805 584 9525. Again, the number to text is 0805 584 9525. Remember that we take text messages only. Do not forget to include your name and where you are texting us from when you do send in your answer to that question. And so right away, we're taking our topic for the day, and the topic is back to school reminders. What are some things that you need to keep in mind as you begin this new term? The second term for students in Nigeria, the second term of the 2019-2020 academic session. What are some things that you need to keep in mind? Well, we're going to be talking about two things that you need to keep in mind as you go through this term. And the first is set your term goals, and the second is plan to meet your goal. Set your term goals and plan to meet your goal. Many of us just go through school and we just go with the flow, as they say. Whatever comes our way, we take it that way. But that's not the right way to go about anything at all that you're doing. Whether it is school, whether it is work, it's important to have a goal in mind. And the question is, what is a goal? Well, we're going to turn to a dictionary. I did a screenshot of the meaning provided by the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. It gave us a definition of what the word goal is. So what are goals? Set your term goals. What are the goals? A goal is something that you hope to achieve in the future. Something that you hope to achieve in the future. That's your goal. So when we talk about setting your term goals, we're saying, what is it that you hope to achieve this term? As a student or as a teacher, what do you hope to achieve? Is it an academic goal? Is it a goal with learning? Definitely, if you're in school, you would set academic goals. You may decide, oh, last term I scored 50% in most of the tests. This term, I want to move a step further and score maybe higher marks. But for your goal to be good goals, for your goal to be a real goal, there are 5 things that you need to keep in mind. And those 5 things are written with the mnemonic SMART. So what are the SMART goals? The SMART goals are this. The word SMART is an acronym which is used as a mnemonic. So the mnemonic means S, specific, M, measurable, A, achievable, C, relevant, R, relevant, and T, timed. So it should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timed. So we're going to look at what does each of these mean when you say something is specific? Well, when your goal is specific, it means that you can point to it. You can say, this is the goal that I want to achieve. It's not something broad. For instance, if you say, I want to improve my academics, that's a broad goal. You need to be specific. What aspects of your academics do you want to improve in? Is it in your reading? Is it in your writing? Is it in remembering? What is that specific thing that you want to achieve? That's specific. You must be very specific with your goal. It should be measurable. You should have what you would use to tell whether you have achieved success. That means that at the end of a specific period, you should be able to say, okay, I have done this and this and this, and that means that I've achieved my goal. So you should be able to measure your goal. It should be achievable. You shouldn't set goals that are too high for you. For instance, a student in a school, the last time that in the last exams, he scored 50%, and this term he said his goal is 100%. That's too much of a goal. You should set goals that are achievable. So we're talking about SMART goals. It should be something that you should be able to achieve. It should be relevant. The goal should be relevant to whatever you want to do. For instance, you cannot be talking about making money when you're discussing academic goals. It should be relevant to you as a student. What is relevant to you at this point in time? Should your goal be to get 1 million naira in your account when you're still in secondary school? That goal is not relevant at that point in time. You should be thinking of your academics and not how to make money. So it should be relevant. And then finally, it should be timed. You should have a time frame for which you want to achieve that goal. For instance, you can say, at the end of today, I want to achieve this, this, and this. And then it's SMART. So when we say SMART goals, that's what we mean. We mean it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, and timed. So let's look at that SMART goal example. And that's one you're looking at there. The goal says, I want to speak right. No, that's not a SMART goal example. It's too general, it's too broad, it's too large. I want to speak right. That's not really a SMART goal. For you, remember the different aspects that we said you need to include if your goal is to be achievable. Yeah, we said it should be specific. So, in this, the second example, we have, I want to learn 3 new words. That's specific. 3 words, that's all you want to learn, on each episode of Diction Avenue. That's measurable. You are talking about the program Diction Avenue, you're talking about 3 new words. So at the end of each show, you are learning 3 words. That's a specific and a measurable goal. And then you say, and practice using it throughout the week. Your goal is specific, it's measurable. Learning 3 words in a show where we'll use so many words is achievable. It's also relevant because you want to speak right. And then there's a time frame. At the end of 1 week, you will ask yourself, did I use these 3 words that I learned on Diction Avenue? And if you did, then you know that you have achieved your goal. You were smart about it, and then you went right for it and you achieved it. So as you begin this new term, you should set measurable, achievable goals. You should set SMART goals for yourself. And you'll find out that at the end of the term, you can look back and say, yes, this is what I achieved this term. You can look at your report and you'll see a reflection of all the things that you hoped to achieve at the end of the term. And one little thing I want to add is that in order to achieve goals that are more long-term, you should break them into smaller chunks. So for instance, we know that in a month, there'll be 4 editions of Diction Avenue. So instead of just saying, I want to learn 12 words in a month, you say 3 words in a week. So it's a smaller goal, which is achievable because of how small it is. But then when it stacks up, it becomes something larger. So when you're setting your goals, break them into tinier chunks. Instead of saying, my goal for this year is to read 50 books, you can say, my goal for this month is to read 1 book or 2 books. If it's 2 books, then you say, my goal for this week is to read 1 book. And so because you've broken it down into smaller chunks, you can see the goal clearly, you can achieve it within that short period of time, and then that achievement boosts you in that you want to achieve even more. And that's how goals work. Remember when they say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 little step? So you need to take 1 little step at a time in order to achieve your goals. And next we'll be looking at stories that teach. And on stories that teach today, we're going to learn something. We're going to learn something about how not to present yourself. Our story for today is on Sonya the Squirrel. So after that story, after we've listened to that story and we return with Diction Avenue, we will see what you have learned from that story. So our goal is to learn something from that story, and then we'll be back.
Come to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is spoken so good. It's Diction Avenue, Diction Avenue.
It's reading time. Sonya the Squirrel.
Sonia the Squirrel was very smart. She always had something to say in every situation. Once a question was asked in class, she would not put up her hand to be called, but would blurt out the answer before any of the other students had a chance to speak. "That is no way to act," Mr. Jerry the Jaguar told her. "We know you're smart, but you don't have to show off. You must always give others a chance by putting up your hands first." But Sonia would not listen. "Why don't you slowpokers catch up?" she would say. "It's not my fault I think so fast and know the answers." And so every day she would blurt out the answers, and she never stopped. One day, Mr. Jerry the Jaguar decided to teach her a lesson. He traveled to the farthest part of the jungle and found another squirrel that was twice as smart as Sonia. His name was Blue. So, the next day in class, Mr. Jerry the Jaguar asked a very tough science question. And before Sonia could think of an answer, Blue's hands shut up and he provided the answer. Sonia could not believe her eyes. All through that day, she never got a chance to answer a question. Sonia was sad. She went up to Mr. Jerry the Jaguar and asked to talk to him. I now see how others feel when I outshine them. I'm very sorry, Mr. Jerry. From now on, I will follow the rules. No more blurting out answers when others are still thinking. Do you know why it is important not to be a show-off?
The end. Welcome back. Well, Sonia was smart, and because she was smart, she kept taking the shine out of everyone else. I hope you did learn a lesson from that story, and that is, you may be smart, but you do not have to show off your smartness. So when a question is asked, give other people the opportunity to think of an answer before you put up your hand in class and give the answer to, if you're called upon. So I hope that is a goal you can set for yourself this term. If you're one of those who's always the first to put up your hands when a question is asked, you may need to cool down a little and give other people a chance to think. That is a very nice thing to do, right? So that's our story for today on Sonia the Squirrel, and hopefully you learned the same lessons that I did from that story. Well, in a short while, we'll be looking at the phone lines and looking at the answers that you have given so far to the question that we asked this week. Remember that this week we are discussing back to school reminders, and so far we have talked about why it is important for you to set goals and meet your goals, not just set goals. We have many people who make resolutions. They say, this is my New Year resolution. And before the second week of January, they've forgotten everything. So you need to set smart goals in order to meet them. So our question of the day, you still have an opportunity to provide an answer to a question of the day. And our question of the day is, the acronym SMART is, and I'm sure that the question will be up on our screens in just a bit. The question again is, the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T, is an A, abbreviation, B, mnemonic, C, word. So is the acronym SMART, SMART, is it an abbreviation? Is it a mnemonic? or is it a word? Well, your answers, text message only, should go to 0805 584 9525. Again, 0805 584 9525. I'll take that really slowly so that you can get it. 0805 584 9525. And don't forget, text message only. Do not forget to include your name and where you're texting us from. And we have so many answers already. This is Sefia Isa. Sefia Isa from Lagos with a wrong answer. Thanks for participating anyway, Sefia. This is Odetayo Taiwo with a correct answer. Well done, Odetayo. And this is no name there, so I can't read that. No name either. This is Mickey from Lagos. Mickey with a wrong answer. Thanks for participating, Mickey. And this is Chuku Daniel. Chuku Daniel from Alagbado. Chuku Daniel sent us a wrong answer. And this is Akinshola Quadri. Akinshola Quadri also sent us a wrong answer. And we'll take this one answer before we look at our question for the week. And this is Aziz from Olambe. And Aziz sent us a wrong answer. All right. We'll take more answers just before the end of the show. But for now, we're going to look at our question of the Ask Anything English, not our question for the day. We'll be looking at Ask Anything English. And this week on Ask Anything English, the question is actually related to the topic we took last week. Remember, last week we talked about text messaging abbreviations. And right after that show, we got this question from one of the viewers. And the question was, in a formal text message, is it appropriate to ask the welfare of the person and his family? In a formal text message, is it appropriate to ask about the welfare of the person and his family? That's the question. And the person went ahead to say, for example, good morning, sir, how are you doing and how is your family? I applied for so and so. Well, let me first say that for you to say formal and text message, it's a kind of, would I say, oxymoron, because text messages are not formal ways of communicating. Text messages are informal. Yes, some people use it for business, but when they even use it for business, there is a semi-formal voice or a very informal voice or tone that is used. So text messages are not formal means of communication. If you're looking for a formal means of communication, then you should be thinking about emails. Emails lend themselves to formal communication. So, in answer to your question, if you're to make an inquiry of someone, especially in Africa, where we're used to asking about each other's welfare, then yes, you should make inquiry about a person's welfare when you are texting them, before you move on to whatever you have to discuss. And remember, the reason is that text messages are informal and personal. They are not a formal way of communicating. Don't forget that you can always ask us anything English on Diction Avenue, and we have various platforms that you can use to ask us anything English. So if you have a question, you can use our Facebook, Institute of Certified Communicators, our Twitter at ecomng, or email admin@ecom.ng, or if you prefer to send a WhatsApp message, then do send one to 0805 584 9525. And we will be glad to provide well-researched answers to your questions. And we're about to draw the curtains on the show for today. I really want to take a few more answers that you have provided. And this is Ogunsani Daniel from Command, who gave us a wrong answer. She says, Adesoya Ayomide from Ifo. Good evening, he says. And he sent a correct answer. Well done, Adesoya. This is Sheyi Bamidele from Atiba Street with a wrong answer. Well, thank you, Sheyi, for sending in your answer. And this is Joy Patrick with a wrong answer. So what's the right answer, you may ask? Oh, you say wrong answer. What is the right answer? And this is something that you can learn on the Avenue today. The acronym SMART that was the question that we gave up at the beginning of the show, our question of the day. The acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T, is an A. If you said A, abbreviation, then no, an acronym is not an abbreviation. The acronym SMART is not an abbreviation. If you said C, it's a word, well, it's a word. I agree with you, but that's not the correct answer to the question. It's not actually even a word in this instance. It's an acronym. We already said that. So the correct answer is B. It's a mnemonic. And I said that over and over during the show. The acronym SMART is a mnemonic. And what's a mnemonic, you may ask? A mnemonic is a letter, a group of letters, or sometimes an acronym that you use to remember something. Right? So when you say SMART, that's an interesting word. It's a mnemonic because it helps you to remember the 5 things that you need to do for your goal to be achievable. It should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And that's how far we're going to go on the Avenue today. I hope you had fun in this edition of Diction Avenue. Next week, we will continue on this journey to learn to speak right, sound right, and sound English. What's your New Year resolution? Mine, as in last year, and the other year, and the other year, has been to speak right, sound right all the time. Because I know that your accent is your asset. See you next week.
Be told, come witness a treasure you can't measure. Welcome to the world.
And there's something new. Why English is